Hey team, it's George. Appreciate all the effort you're putting into our class. I hope you're finding it meaningful. We have some excellent textbooks that we're going through, and I hope you're finding that to be able to ground your leadership style into place. So let's talk about leadership style here. Leadership style, from my perspective, is on a continuum. We all have our one or two go-tos. Some of us have a couple different go-tos. Some of us have one, but we can shift into different styles as the situation requires. So think of it as a continuum. The old school way of thinking was uh, authoritative or autocratic versus democratic. So that was one way of saying you tell everybody what to do versus a collaborative style, and you would go along that continuum. But there's so many more leadership styles out there. Coaching is one that I like that seems to work pretty good, but I'm also very creative with my team and give them a lot of responsibility as well. So I kind of move back and forth depending on the nature of the team and the people, how much uh, hands on I need to give them as far as how to perform tasks, things like that, versus folks that are able to do it more independently. And you have to balance that with the other things that we've been talking about in class, which are, things like are the consequences right side up? So you got to make sure that your leadership style doesn't pour on a bunch of excess work to your big achievers. So because we're on a continuum, I want to take time and do a quick little exercise with us on what do you see. So take 10 seconds. I'm going to give you 10 seconds. You're going to look at this uh, thing I'm going to put on the screen and come up with as many things as it could possibly be. On your mark, get set, go. Okay, so if you were like 99% of us adults, our choices are limited on what that is. Some people see, what do we see? Some people see an arrow, a cliff, a boat, triangles, different shapes, things like that. So what I want us to do is I want us to expand our process. Do you know who can see a limitless number of stuff in this? And that's kids. So I want us to take a moment to think like a kid because what we talked in a prior week about schema, how we have all of our previous experiences in our mind and we look at everything from those previous experiences. Well, kids don't have as much schema, so they're able to see more opportunity. They're able to see more stuff that's out there. It may sound nonsensical, um, but they're able to come up with what this could be. So they'll easily come up with 10, 15, 20 things, just clocking them off just like that. They won't stop. Somebody might even, they'll say, oh, I see spaghetti. I see, whatever it may be. So I want us to pause and understand that our thought process is limited with our schema. So what does that mean? That means in my leadership role, I need to realize that and then purposefully make gains to understand my leadership styles and more importantly, what my employees need for me as a leadership style. What would help them best? So we're taking a very Christian look and having an others centered perspective in leadership. If you want to be a fantastic leader, we have to have that others centered perspective for leadership, and that aligns really well with Christian values, having that others centered perspective. So let's take 5 seconds. Let's think like a kid for a minute. So see yourself as that 4-year old, 5-year old, 6-year old. Now take another 10 seconds. What do you see? So if you were able to do it and see more things like the plate of spaghetti or the Lego blocks or whatever it might be in there, uh, that's the one, the Titanic hitting an iceberg always comes to mind as well. Uh, Remember that for our leadership styles as we look into it, because it's very important that we understand our schema limits our thought. Now that we know it, we're no longer limited. Let's expand our thought out and think about, where do you default? Are you a coach? Are you autocratic? Do you make the decisions? Are you creative? Where do you fall on your default? And take a moment to reflect on how that helps your employees And now let's take that other-centered perspective and think of what other uh, perspectives, leadership styles can I use to help affect my employees better? So what do they need? If they need a lot of hand holding, a lot of direction, how does my leadership style get them to a point where they're confident enough to make good decisions and not need that? That's one thing that I kind of want us to get out from this week. It's what I want our team to look like when we're done with this week, and what I want your team to look like when they're when you come in with your different leadership styles, just absolutely fantastically together, moving in sync and having a great time doing it. Because a lot of people misunderstand joy and fun. Fun at work is okay. It's good. It has its purpose. But when we find joy and we're in sync with each other, there's something just so much more valuable than that, than just having fun and doing different things like that. So we want to find that synchronicity, that sync that we're all in. And when we're moving in that one direction, it is joyful. And that's what we want to help people find at work, because it's meaning. Remember, work is very meaningful for us too. So let's bring all of this into focus and take a look at our discussion question this week, which we've been kind of hitting so far. And then we'll look at let me find us. Where are we? Oh, I passed us right by. And we will find our, I had a lot of stuff open, sorry. Okay, so I missed it again. Here we go. There's our discussions. Okay, so our week 4 discussion, sorry about that. We're talking about group leadership, and you're going to do your leadership style preference. That's why we were talking about all this. Then when we're talking about the general patterns of leader emergence in your group, we're specifically talking about your group here in class. If you have a response to this, whether there's been leader emergence on a grand scale or on a minor scale, you have the answer for this. So just open and honest, and this reflection part kind of helps you as a team and you as an individual understand and really see what's happening within your own team. So that's a great exercise that I like to see what you come up with. And in our assignments here, if I can get, let me go to modules, because I like to navigate through modules easier. So we are going into week 4, group leadership. Okay, the story of Flight 93. So the video is here, and then your assignment is here. And you're going to answer these questions. Lack of leadership in the air traffic control center. What were the contributing factors? Because what happens, and this is on a grand scale, but a lack of leadership can mean very much chaos. Imagine, like I'll say I look back and I can look at either my military experience, Lockheed Martin experience, my individual entrepreneurship experience. And if there's no leadership, there quite often is no direction, because someone has to create the direction. And if there's people in there, depending on how they are as employees, how they act when there is leadership versus is not leadership. So if you are in charge and you by default choose to not lead, then that is choosing to lead as well. So, but you're just letting everyone else lead, and it's very happenstance. Sometimes things can hit the mark just because you have a few people that kind of take over that piece as a leader and ramrod things through. And other times things just explode because no one takes it, and it's mass chaos, or everybody tries to take the leadership role. It's just mass chaos. So there does need to be that leader, and your style depends on how you take on that role. So you're going to look at this Flight 93 and think about it from our perspective that we've been using with thinking like a kid. In other words, getting rid of a lot of our schema. See if you can peel back some of your schema and think of ways to answer these questions as well. So, and we have a live session this coming Wednesday. So I look forward to getting together with everyone that can. I will record it the best of my ability. Sometimes things happen. I'm going to be logging on right on the mark, because when I log on with the Zoom software, it automatically starts the recording. So I don't want to log in a little bit early, stop the recording, and then start it again, because, chances are I will forget. I'll get talking with everybody and I'll forget to hit that record button. So I'm going to be logging on pretty much right on the minute, so we can have that conversation, and the software will record, and it takes me out of the loop to mess things up. So once again, thanks for all your effort and hard work. If you have any questions, please feel free to call, text, email as well, and have a fantastic week.